Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny and we live and garden here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. I'm down in my basement today getting my seed starting studio set up for the coming season. I thought I would share with you what I've got going on here, how I set up myself a little gardening space in my basement. And then together I thought we might transplant some seedlings that I actually started last year that have lived this entire season and grown this much and need to be taken care of. So come with me and let's fuss around and play around here in the seed starting studio. Now, I have shared in the past what is all in my setup here, but I thought we could do a quick overview again and maybe give you some ideas for how you might set your stuff up, although everybody's needs are different and everybody's working styles are different. So, of course, I would never assume that you might want to copy everything that I'm doing. I just thought I would give you some ideas. So let me turn the camera around and get going here. So when you come down the basement stairs, by the way, we live in a 100-year-old house with cement block walls and a concrete floor. It's not a finished basement. It's got, 100-year-old wiring, plumbing, etc. It's a large basement space full of junk over there, don't look. But here is under the stairs, basically, is where I've set up my gardening section. It's like a potting bench / seed starting area. So I made a little U-shape area. It's about 6 by 6, I would guess, in terms of the space that I'm using. This is just a cheap folding table that I got from Walmart that I set up here on this end as my working space. And then I have two industrial metal storage shelving units that I'm using to store my equipment and then to have my lights growing on them. I have this tidy tray here that helps me keep the dirt a little bit contained when I'm working. I ordered this online several years ago. I will see if I can find a link for where you might be able to find one of these nowadays. And then let's just start over here. I basically am using shop lights as my lighting system. These are LED lights in all of these, and I just have them hanging on chains so that I can raise and lower them as needed when I'm in seed starting mode. I've got lights on this shelf, and the bottommost one as well. But I rarely use all three systems at the same time, only at the height of spring seed starting. I've overwintered some of my winter houseplants in here, and some of them really struggled because I basically forgot to water them from the time I put them down here in November until, I don't know, a week ago in January. So a lot of them are struggling, but I'm hoping to be able to pull them back around. So this isn't a houseplant tour, but in general, just share with you that I have some succulents in here, one orchid, fishtail or fishbone cactus. There's some Tradescantia, a couple of bowls full of succulents, and some more Tradescantia spider plant that I whacked back fully and completely last week, and now look how much it's grown since then. And then a Dracaena back in there. And these are two amaryllis bulbs that I found that were just hanging out, looked like they might be viable. Got some growth going on in there. So I thought I would pot them up and see what they do. Over on these shelves, on the bottom is where I store my potting mixes. I've got seed starting mix. I've got some cactus mix and some, what is that? That's probably just vermiculite right there. A couple of different small bags of things. And I have larger quantities of soil in other places. This shelf is where I store my seeds, although on this shelf I've got a random assortment of seeds that I have pulled out and was working with, that I've ordered and haven't sorted, and that I haven't, these ones that I harvested from my garden. So those need to be taken care of. But I've got a lot of seeds here. I'm just using Dollar Tree organization bins to store them with just the most rudimentary alphabetical sorting system made out of cardboard tabs. So nothing costly here. Just, try to corral things into organization that makes sense to me. Up here, this is where I have all my tags. This is protection equipment and some specialty fertilizers back there. And then this is just random tools and equipment that I use, various things, my snips. And then these are the self-watering seed starting trays from Gardener's Supply. They live here as a little collection. On this shelf, I've got some, but not all, of my pots that I ordered. These are from, can't remember the name of the place I got those, but I'll put it on the screen. And I have a lot more of these of all different sizes in another place in the house. Colored pencils, camera equipment, etc. So just random storage and shelving, a collection of pots. Some of these are beautiful and lovely and collectible. Other these are from the Dollar Tree. So, you know, there's my terrarium that failed. And just random storage of various things all over the place. And then that's the door to the garage that is under the house. And then here's where I have my larger systems of soil. I just bought this Happy Frog potting mix the other day, and I'm planning to mix this with this coconut coir and perlite. Last year I used coconut coir and perlite to make a potting mix to use for my seed starting. It worked okay, but the lack of fertilizer in it and lack of any real organic material made my seedlings, it was difficult for me to know when to fertilize them to help them grow better. So this year I'm going to be mixing this beautiful Happy Frog rich in organic matter soil with this mix. So hopefully by mixing the Happy Frog that's got organic material in it, more so than just coconut coir, with the coconut coir to lighten it up and the perlite to further lighten it up. Hopefully that'll be a nice mix for my seedlings that once they are ready for fertilizer, they won't be relying on me to time it correctly and maybe miss it and maybe starve them. I also have a couple of these containers that, again, came from the Dollar Tree that I use for mixing soils up. This bag is actually full of compostable material. As I have organic waste, I put it in there and I'll just dump that out on the compost pile once it's too heavy to carry. Or just before it's too heavy to carry. And then back in here, a couple of other pots just for storage and some dead light bulbs that I haven't gotten rid of and random basement-y stuff. And so for the purposes of making YouTube videos that aren't too dark, let me share with you the lighting system that I've set up for myself down here. As I sit and work at this table, this is the view that I have of the basement. So I've got two light boxes. They're on stands. They just have, you know, bright white lights inside, and they shine light nicely down here on this table. They were very inexpensive. If you're interested to know what they are, I'll just message me or put a comment down and I'll share that. But not everybody needs a lighting system for their needs. So that's basically what I've got going on here in the studio. So today's project is, I have these cactus that I started from seed last year in January with my grandkids. And they look like little sea urchins. Not every cell has some in it, but some do. And I thought, well, first of all, they lived outside all winter long until today. I just brought them in. They are dry, they are cold, they may be dead, I don't know, but they may just be dormant and waiting for me to care for them. So I thought what I would do is prick them out of these seed starting trays and then put them in a pot and then try to care for them and see if they come back to life. Now, if they don't, then I will have at worst spent some time and, you know, not get anything for my effort. But I have the soil, I have a container, I have the seedlings, so I might as well try and get them any sort of conditions where they might be able to grow. So let's see how we can go about doing that. Okay, because these are cactuses, I'm going to use this potting mix that is designed for cactuses. That means it has good drainage, it's lighter, it's not going to hold on to moisture. Basically, you water the cactus, the water runs through, wets the roots, a little bit of water maintained on the soil, but most of the water goes through, and so that the cactuses don't rot. So this is a Miracle Grow product. It does have synthetic fertilizer in it. I'm okay with that. I'm not eating these products. So let's see, what am I going to put these into? I think I'll put them into this little clay pot here and try to get all of them that I have into this one container. I'm going to use some special tools though because they're probably prickly. All right, so I have this iced tea spoon that I use sometimes for potting and pricking things out. It's nice and long and can reach down into places. I've got a couple of pair of tweezers. One of them has this bent nose on it, so I might be able to reach in and get things other than what this one can do. So I think between these tools, I'll be able to hopefully pot up these cactuses without getting pricks in my fingers. All right, so the soil's probably pretty dry, so let me moisten some soil up. Oh, nothing like playing in the dirt, right? Getting your gardener's manicure going here in the early part of February, that feels good. If we can't be outside, at least we can do something inside. All right, so I'm just gonna put the soil in here. Yeah, there is old soil in there, but do as I say, not as I do. Probably should have cleaned that out in case it held any diseases or something. All right, so I'm just gonna make it about a ½ inch from the rim of the pot. There we go. So let's take a look at these a little bit closer, see if we can get some focus going on here. There we go. All right, so these little guys are pretty small and pokey. So I'm going to see if I can get them out without poking myself. So I was thinking I could use these tweezers to see if I can lift out these little guys without damaging them or without damaging myself. So it looks like, yes, I was able to do that. Good. Now, let's see if I can get them planted in here. Set it down in there. And then tuck it in. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to try that again. I think that's pretty promising. Looks like there's two little guys here. There's like one here and one here. So I'm just gonna transplant them together. Now there are a lot in this pot. And they're too close together, certainly. But this way I'll be able to see which ones are viable and which ones are not. And I'll just take out the ones that die and transplant the ones that live. And hopefully we'll have some baby cactuses growing in our houseplants this year. So now with the rest of this soil that was in these containers since last January, I'm going to put this in my compost bin. So I'm just going to put it in this bag right here. That will eventually be taken out to the compost pile. Now there were some little baby cactuses in here that I didn't transplant, but this is plenty. And I don't know if any of them are living, so I might have just spent some time on absolutely nothing that will work for the long term. So we'll see. I'm not going to water this with overhead water right now. The soil I put in there was pretty moist. So now I'm just going to spray it because I don't want to really dislodge any of the plants that I just put in there. So this will hopefully put some soil up against their roots, and then the rest of the soil will be already moist. This is way too deep. They don't need this much depth because their roots were only like at best 1/4 inch long. But anyway, we'll see. Some of these are brown. I don't know if that means they died or if they just take on an amber color in the winter when they get cold. I don't even know if these are hardy in our area, and we did have some temperatures down in the 10-degree Fahrenheit ranges already this winter, and these were outside for that. So I don't know if they're alive or if they're dead. Some of them have a little bit of a green cast to them that makes me hope that they're alive. I don't know. We're going to find out. So I'm just going to put this over here, and I will check on them, and hopefully they'll grow. Well, thanks so much for joining me today here in the seed starting studio, or my potting bench area, or my garden corner, or whatever we want to call it. I hope that you are enjoying your early February. I hope that you're dreaming of your garden this year. And I hope maybe you've gotten some dirt under your fingernails one way or another. And finally, I hope I'll see you again in another video real soon. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.